And welcome back to the Friday MLB Central presented by Hyundai. JP Morosi back at home where the heart is finally, and there is news out of where you just came from. Good morning to you. Chaim Bloom let go from Boston. I got the email yesterday. I was surprised at the timing, at the direction. What was your reaction to it?
Lauren, good morning. And you're exactly right. We pride ourselves on trying to have a sense of what's happening around the industry, and that certainly was not the case for me this week. Being in Boston, there was no real glimpse that this was going to happen yesterday morning, but it did. Chaim Bloom out after 4 seasons as the Red Sox president of baseball operations. Of course, they've now missed the playoffs, assuming they miss the playoffs this year, which is likely, in 3 of those 4 years. And yesterday, here was what Sam Kennedy, the Red Sox CEO, had to say about their decision yesterday.
The decision was not made lightly or easily, particularly given the deep respect we have for Chaim's character and for the professionalism and integrity that he has brought to our organization over the past 4 years. We all know where we are in the standings. It's a painful reality that fans feel as deeply as we do. Our fans deserve a winning, competitive team that consistently plays postseason baseball.
Lauren, there is the standard that Sam Kennedy referenced, consistent postseason baseball. And that has not been the case 3 of the last 4 years for the Red Sox. And in many ways, though, as you pull back and take the big picture view of things for Chaim Bloom, one of the first moves that he had to make as ownership was not able to sign Mookie Betts long-term was to trade Mookie Betts.
Sure.
And it's really hard to win that trade. That was how his tenure began. And there was that brief moment, the ALCS appearance in 2021, but the sustained success at the major league level was not there. Yes, the story has been brighter in the farm system, but ultimately in a place like Boston, you are judged on playoff appearances and playoff success. There was simply not enough of that. So who will be the next leader for the Red Sox baseball operation? A few names to discuss today. Chris Antonetti, I would mention, has to be the leader, or at least among the leaders, if in fact he would be available. A strong track record of success for him in Cleveland. We have talked before on the show in recent weeks about the likely retirement of Terry Francona. If it's a new era in Cleveland, perhaps it'd be a natural time for Chris Antonetti to leave and go elsewhere, back to New England. David Forst, of course, a tremendous executive with the A's for a long time, also a Harvard shortstop for a long time himself. Brandon Gomes, a very highly regarded executive with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is actually a Massachusetts native. And Brandon Gomes' name has come up a lot in recent hiring potential openings around baseball, but he's never been really willing to leave, I don't think, Los Angeles. But you do wonder, as a New England native, would that be different if in fact it was his hometown team? And Mike Hazen as well, a long tenure there with the Red Sox before going to the Diamondbacks. I would also mention Josh Burns, who was part of the front office 20 years ago as they began their run. So I think, Lauren, a lot of these names I'm mentioning, this would not be a first time at a big job. This is one of the biggest jobs in the industry, and I think it's going to attract a much broader and potentially impactful level of candidate than most other openings around Major League Baseball.
Consistently playing in October, that is the standard. In Boston, it just is. Red Sox get the Blue Jays today, and Dero just said it after getting swept in 4 games at home. It's a tough hill to climb for Toronto. We heard John Snyder speak after the game. How will they mix it up, if at all?
Lauren, it's a great question. And first of all, as we take stock of just how dominant the Rangers were in these 4 games, this was being billed as the series to prove, if you're the Blue Jays, that you belong in the playoffs. Well, here were the results. 4-game sweep for Texas, and really not close. Look at the rotation ERA for the Jays. That's been the bedrock of their team all season long. Not good enough. The average, not good enough. So the question, what do you do if you're John Schneider? And the reality is, Lauren, there is not much that you can do to shake things up. There was at least one brief glimpse of positivity last night. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a home run for Vladdy. They have needed him to be back to his MVP level self. He has not had that great of a year. Bo Bichette did get a couple base hits last night. Of course, he had missed some time due to injury. But this man, I think Matt Chapman is the one that I look to the most, Lauren, because he was the American League Player of the Month in April. Has not been as consistent since then. Of course, he had just spent some time on the injured list as well. They need all 3 of these guys to be great, because while Santiago Espinal has played well, had some good at-bats, so has Kevin Biggio, you need your superstars to be superstars. And those three players I mentioned, Vladdy, Bichette, and Chapman, they've got to be great this weekend and beyond if the Blue Jays are going to find a way to get back into a playoff position, because right now, if the American League playoffs began today, the Jays would not be part of them.
Yeah, they need all of the above, all of the guys you just mentioned. Try and find some magic with 3 weeks left to play and roll with it. It looks like the Phillies will hold on to that top wildcard spot in the National League. That seems to be a constant, although in that race, who the heck knows? And Rob Thompson has talked about getting back to a 5-man rotation. This has been the question, the 5 spot in that rotation. I remember in March and April we were talking about that. Who gets it now?
Well, it looks like potentially, no matter who gets it, and obviously Ranger Suarez had a very encouraging outing here in recent days, that Michael Lorenzen could be moved to the bullpen. Now, he's got some experience as a reliever before, of course, notably in his home debut as a Philly, a no-hitter. And it just tells you, Lauren, of the luxury that the Phillies have in their rotation depth, that you could move someone of Lorenzen's caliber into a bullpen role. And I think we're seeing now more and more, it's not just that if you're a reliever, you're going one inning. You can actually go bulk. And obviously his outings have not been as encouraging since the no-hitter as they were leading up to it, and obviously how well he pitched for the Detroit Tigers this year. So perhaps the thinking there, Lauren, is as he has struggled a bit of late, move him to a shorter stint, whether it's 1 or 2 innings, that might be a better fit for him. Taijuan Walker is there now. Sanchez at the back of the rotation, along with Ranger Suarez, too. So I like this group of Philadelphia starters. Lauren, in the crowded National League playoff picture, we just saw that wild card graphic before going to break, how much fun it's going to be the next couple weeks to see who claims that last spot or two. But the Phillies do seem to be in a comfortable position. And I would say this, for a team with that amount of playoff experience, they are not the team you want to face in the first round of the National League playoffs.
From a no-hitter to the bullpen, life comes at you fast. JP Morosi on the inside corner. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great
Thanks
weekend.
so much.
Thanks a lot.